All right, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and this is today's project. So we're going to be removing some of this brush from along this fence line. It's not too much here. We're going to go over to about where this pine is here, and then go back to about where this fence it corners right about there. So we're just going to kind of clean this out and clean it up as best we can and see what it looks like. So I've got the Mini here and the dump truck, and I'm not going to be digging any of this out. We're basically just, it's all real small stuff, and to make it less trips in the dump truck, I'm just going to kind of cut it and break everything down in the smallest pieces as possible. And if I do that, I think I might get this out, most of it, in one trip, maybe two. We'll just have to see how it breaks down, but I want to just kind of cut everything down as little as possible. So I got the steel here with the chainsaw heads and the hedge trimmer head, and we're kind of gonna just kind of try to break this down as best we can and rake it up, throw it in the dump truck, and take it to the dump. So let's get started. right, so that's working out pretty well so far. This job was kind of one of those things where the bark looked bigger than the bite, so to speak. The only thing that was really big in here was that the bottom of that wax myrtle that was there. The rest of this was just a bunch of vines that had grown up this tree, and I really wasn't going to try to mess with that too much. I mean, the tree's live, it's not dead or anything, but once I kind of grabbed it, there really was no cutting it away from it, and it only went up to about where those branches are. Didn't really go up the whole tree, and so if anything was going to come down, it probably just would have been that little branch right there, but it didn't because it's dead. But speaking of these trees, that's kind of how I got this job. Was these pines, this one and this one, are eventually going to come down, and I know the tree guy that came over here to look at it and do it, and he didn't want to mess with having to try to take all this out by hand, so he basically referred the owner to me to get all this cleaned up so he can actually get to these trees. So that's why I really in the beginning wasn't going to mess too much with the vines, because the trees are coming down anyway, so there's no point in trying to take the vines out to save them. But that whole thing was just kind of all conglomerated together. Is that even a word? Conglomerated? I don't know. Anyway, so this is cleaning up well. I'm going to break this down a little bit. It's kind of a big ball of stuff, and I'm worried about if I get it in the back of the truck, once I go to dump it, it may not have enough weight and mass, and it's just so big stuff gets caught in the tailgate there at the top. So you get too much stuff, and it'll all kind of basically choke itself right there at the gate, and it won't come out, and that's a pain. There's been times when I've taken stuff over to the dump, and one time the guy running the excavator loading the big mulcher over there actually had to come over there with the excavator with the thumb and kind of rake some of the stuff out the back of the truck there and help me out. So I'm gonna take the hedger and just kind of break some of this up a little bit and see if it kind of breaks down a little bit, and try to get more of this cleaned out. All right, so this is cleaning up nicely. I'm not going to go too much past this pine. I'm not going to cut this, but I'm going to kind of maybe rake a little bit of this stuff out because it was kind of growing that way. So we'll clean kind of this a little bit here, rake that out, and get the rest of this up to about where that pine is. So dump truck's pretty much full, and I'm not going to try to overload it because I know I got at least 2 loads here, so no point in that. So we'll come back and get the rest of this. We'll take this first load to the dump, come back and deal with this. So I know people are going to ask me about a mulcher in here. One on a skid steer really wouldn't work, I don't think, all that well. It's a little tight. One on an excavator probably would have worked okay, but they want all this gone anyway, so even if you mulched it down, you were still going to have to come in here and rake it out. You could have done it either way. My only concern with a mulcher is if you got it too close to this fence and you hit that fence and wrap that wire up in the drum, that'd be a problem. That would be a problem. Or if there was any wire buried in here, you know, just dumped or whatever. Sometimes that happens in these residential areas, which, I mean, it can happen anywhere, but you don't know what some landscapers dumped in here, roll of fence or whatever, you know. So, but anyway, a mulcher on an excavator head, I'd have been worried too about throwing stuff out here in the yard, or maybe grabbing something too and throwing it to the house. It could have worked, but you'd still be in here raking all this out. The dump truck works okay for hauling off this kind of debris. It's not great. A dump trailer really would work better. I'd love to have one. There's a Kaufman gooseneck that I'd love to have, but I just haven't done enough work to justify spending like $8 grand on that thing. So I've been getting by with this. For little jobs like this, it works. But if I had that dump trailer, I could get all of this in one load, and that would be that. So all right, just my thoughts on that stuff. So let's hop in the truck and get this to the landfill. The Horry County Solid Waste Authority. Oh, it is dusty in here today. Where is the water truck? Oh man, I hate that they have, like, where they take the landscape debris, you have to go all the way over the landfill and go all the way to the back. So you get to go past all the stinky stuff just to get to the back where the landscape debris is. They couldn't have put it up here somewhere, you know, where they actually have the mulch and stuff. Oh well. Be interesting to see how much I weigh. I doubt there's a ton back there. I'm gonna say less than a ton. We'll see. Got the pad foot up there rolling it in. So apparently the landfill is going to be running out of room here in like another year and a half or so. Less than 2 years is how much capacity they've got left. And they've applied for a permit to last them another 20 years. I think to like 2040, I think. Yeah, around 2040. And the permit applies for another 5 million cubic yards, I believe is what it is. So we'll see if they get it. They probably will. But I know some people are not happy about it. But they are running out of room for sure. Oh, it smells horrible out today. Someone told me that all this green right here is where they capture gas, natural gas or methane or something. Maybe not natural gas, I guess it's methane or whatever. It's the gas that the landfill produces. I don't know, maybe? I don't know what that is. I don't think so. I think it's for erosion, but I don't know. Man, look at the seagulls out today. Getting them something to eat. Okay, is that normal? Because that thing is like smoking. Oh, dude. Oh, shoot. That thing's like on fire. It looks like it's on fire, but it's still pumping stuff out. But oh my God. Is that normal? Oh, it seems to be. Dang. Let's go dump this and see what's up. Oh, there it goes. Man, that thing was smoking. I thought that thing was on fire or something when I come around that turn, man. I thought they were burning or something. Dang, that thing puts out some. That thing's going. Man, listen, dude, that diesel on that thing is just screaming. Okay guys, so the load in the bed was just a little bit overloaded, but what ended up happening was when I backed down into the pit to dump, one of the rear brake lines that goes to the air brake hub on the right side, rear right side, snagged something and basically broke off at the fitting. Not completely off, but it broke where it let the air out and the brake, the rear right side brake actually locked up. So when I lifted it up, I tried to pull forward to shake it out the back, and the truck would not move because the brake was locked up, and that rear right side is the planetary. So I was basically kind of stuck there for a minute. Luckily the operator came over there and gave me a little bit of assist, and I was able to finagle the line to get enough air into it to release the brake. But I was stranded at the landfill for about 2.5 hours before Kelly could come get me and we could disconnect the airline and go get a new one made and get it hooked back up. So kind of funny story there, but luckily it turned out okay. mulch. Listen to that thing. So I talked to the guy, said that thing's got 1,050 horsepower. That's insane. That is nuts. I think he's putting probably in, I'd say if he got 2 good full scoops with that excavator, he'd probably fill up my dump truck. And that thing is just eating it, no problem. He said it though, if you get a bunch of palm fronds in there, he said palm fronds will shut it down though. It'll clog it up and shut it off just like a lawnmower, which I thought was crazy, but being those things are just so stringy, they just get clogged up in there and just can't deal with it. But the rest of that stuff, man, it just goes through it. No problem. That's made by CBI, by the way. I don't know what model or anything it is, but it is a beast. Love it. All right, guys, I'm finally back from the landfill. We had a minor problem at the landfill. I guess when I backed down into there to dump, one of my air lines for the air brake on the rear end snagged something, and it ripped out of the fitting, and so I was kind of stuck there for about 2 hours waiting on Kelly because he was tied up on the north end. So he had to come get me, and we had to go get a new airline made and get that put on really quick. So it's like almost close to 4 now, and it's too late for me to go back to the landfill. So, and I've got to help my parents this afternoon. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just try to rake this out really quick and get it piled up for tomorrow, and then just kind of consolidate really quick. And I'll come back tomorrow with the dump truck really quick. We can just load this up and take it to the landfill and kind of rake up out here a little bit, clean it up, and we should be good. So let's see if we can't kind of consolidate this up really quick. All right, guys, day 2. All that's really left is to clean up this little bit and this little pile, get it in the dump truck, take it to the landfill, and then we'll come back, pick up the machine, and that'll be pretty much it. And we'll try to rake a little bit more of this stuff when I get this pile too, but no worries. right, there it be. Hope you guys can see that through the shadow in there. But so I brought the Mini in here real quick before I put it up and just kind of tamped the ground down a little bit, and got this kind of tamped out as best I could. Might rake that a little bit more right there and just smooth it out. But according to the owner, I'm not really going to do anything with this probably for the rest of the year. This pine and this pine are both coming down, so now the tree guy has got plenty of room to work in here now. He won't have any issue getting in here and getting to these trees. So there's a bit of a stump kind of thing right here, but when this stump gets ground, and there's like another one right there that's kind of connected to it, I just left that instead of having to fight with it and tear the ground up, because when they grind that stump out, they can just come over here and just grind this root mass kind of stump thing out too. Just wasn't worth fighting with when they can just take them 5 minutes to grind that out, and it leave a lot less mess than me having to dig it out and fix the hole. And I don't really want to dig next to these trees either. This pine it's not dead, but it ain't looking great. It's probably not too far off from dying within the next couple of years. It doesn't look very healthy. So, but everything else in here looks good. When I first looked at this job, I looked it up on the GIS. The GIS on the satellite had this fence line as the property line, but I guess somebody marked this, and somewhere in here was the actual property line. So I didn't dig too much over here. The homeowner had talked to these homeowners and told them what was going on. They were cool with me cleaning this part out a little bit over to their side too, but I didn't want to go digging too much over here. So, and then last thing I did was I took the weed eater and just kind of cleaned up this little edge line here and clean that out. And then I think they're just going to come in here and spray Roundup for the time being, keep everything kind of beat down until the trees get gone, and then they'll figure out something to do, I guess, with it, with their landscaper, making it into a mulch bed or a flower bed, or just put grass down. I don't know. So not too bad. This would have been a one-day project if I hadn't gotten stuck at the landfill for like 2.5 hours yesterday with that air line that broke. So other than that, yeah, this turned out pretty well. Happy with it. So hopefully the skid steer is almost finished being fixed. I'm gonna call John Deere today, and I think I checked on Monday. They were waiting on some parts, so we'll go see. Grab this can. Hopefully I can get back over there and finish my bush hogging. That other job, the 8 acres. So get to that soon. So I'll catch you guys later.